Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in with a Sunday sermon. I was listening to the book of First Timothy this morning, and I do audio versus reading, just the way that my brain works. And one thing I realized today, and you got to really think about this and understand that our world is moving further and further away from logic and righteousness when you think about right from wrong. And if you think about it, you can look back even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and what you'll notice is that with every passing year, things that used to be unrighteous or wrong are now seen as right and okay. And what you'll notice is that the rules and the regulations on the heart becomes more and more lax with every passing year. You'll start to see people become more and more distant from any belief system. And everything starts to become normal. Everything is okay. Everything is accepted. And one of the biggest things that people are hanging their hat on today is, don't judge me. Don't judge me. And I can't count how many times I read a message that says, instead of judging others, don't judge others. Judging others is this. And the issue is that not everybody is judging you. Somebody's telling you the truth. Somebody's holding you accountable. But we are in the age of outrage. We are in the age of outrage. Everybody wants to be outraged. Everybody wants to be offended. Everybody wants to be able to do whatever they want to do without any sense of a moral compass, without real morals and values, without a foundation. And if you are not careful, the stuff you watch on television, the movies you watch, the music you listen to, the conversations you hold will push you further and further away from your righteous mind, what you know is right. So that if you have children, now you will become more lax with them. And what you don't understand is that now you're passing down the wrong lessons, and now your children who don't have the wisdom that you have or the experiences that you have, what you have made okay for them eats them alive. So you have to make sure that you have your foundation, that you never forget in your heart what's right from wrong, what's righteous from wrong, and that regardless of what everyone else is doing. My dad used to have a saying on the wall, and it said, it was a scripture. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And we had one of them printers that it printed out, this big, and it printed out all the letters and big old letters. And he let that printer print it out, and he taped it on the wall. Long old perforated pages. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And I had to look at that every day. And guess what? I still went on to be a prodigal son. Because there was things that I was curious about and I wanted to know. And that's why you have to be mindful as an adult that you get in line and that you are able to talk to your children about the real and let them know and expose yourself. Tell the things that you did. Now, you can't tell it all at one age, but you're going to have to tell it at this age. Tell the things that you did. Tell the mistakes that you made, so that cures that curiosity, because they're going to be curious about whatever is around them. So it might be alcohol, it might be drugs, it might be crime, it might be the game. Whatever is around, they're going to be curious about it. If you've already walked down that path, you can cure that curiosity by being a transparent parent. Transparent parent. Understand that. So what you have to remember, and look at your life in every area. Look at your life in every area and evaluate the righteous from the wrong. Right from wrong. And start to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what are my beliefs? What are my beliefs? Now, one thing I realized about this Holy Bible, with me reading the Bible, I said, boy, we don't want this whole Bible. We don't want this whole Bible. We get that Bible and, okay, give me this page. All right, give me this page. Okay, leave that page out. Okay, because I was just in 1 Timothy, and 1 Timothy probably, I don't know if it was the second or the third chapter. I can't remember. I listened to all 6. It was the second or the third, and it went to telling what the woman's supposed to be doing. I was like, we had to let that go. We had to let that part go. That is not in America today. But it was. That's also why God says serve God in spirit and in truth and obey the laws of the land. See, what that means is that God is fluid in the sense of when you're in a different area and you're in a different time period and there's different laws in your land, then you have to use spiritual discernment. So what I'm referring to in that book of Timothy, it said women should learn in quiet and in submissiveness and not be able to be over men and have a position higher than a man. That's what it said. But that was that time period. So you see what I mean with your righteousness? You have to understand that with righteousness and serving God in spirit and in truth, you got to be able to talk to God, not to the letter. Not to the letter. See, a lot of people taking their minute education and going to the word of God and trying to interpret it as if you in school in English or composition class doing a reading and comprehension exercise, and you trying to take that and interpret the Bible when you might be a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. You might not have all the sense that you need to have, and you leaning on your own understanding. Like the Bible tell you, lean not to your own understanding. See, you got to go to God in spirit and in truth. And it was talking about after that how the elders and those who are holding a position need to be faithful to their wife, need to be respected in the community, need to have their name clean, and doing the right things, carrying themselves with character and integrity so that people can look up to them. And I said, man, we losing that too. It's almost every pastor you know has gone through a sexual scandal. Almost every elder or deacon you know has gone through some type of sexual scandal. See, we want to be righteous in word, but then wicked in deed. And then we want to be wicked in deed and then cry and scream out grace and forgiveness and non-judgment. And as I was listening to the book of Timothy, it say when somebody does wrong, commits an offense, that they need to be reprimanded in front of the whole church. Now, when the last time you went to church and they brought up deacon so-and-so and reprimanded him for cheating on his wife with Sister Clarice? When the last time you seen that in church? No, we just a little slap on the wrist. Okay, yeah, just sit down in the third row for about 5 weeks, then we'll give you a chair back up there on the pulpit. The pastor come up preach a whole sermon about his infidelity, and the sermon come from such a evil place of conviction, it go viral. It'll go viral. Him trying to excuse his infidelity. Him trying to excuse his wicked deeds. And see, we come to a place to where we don't want to be held accountable. When you want to do wrong, it's stop judging me. When you want to do wrong, well, the Bible say, thou shalt not judge. But then when somebody else doing something that you don't like, then, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And see, you got to come to the place where you have a relationship and not just a religion. Where you have a relationship and you know what you are called to from the Most High. And you know what in your spirit you are called to. See, I can't judge anybody else's ministry. I could pray for them. I could pray for their wisdom, for their knowledge, for their understanding. Unless it's a clear-cut violation of the scripture, then I can't judge. I can't reprimand them. I can't say that to them. Because if I can sense that their heart is pure and their heart is in the right place and that they are serving in spirit and in truth, then I don't know if God is doing a new thing in a new age with them. I don't know. Lady said to me, take that hat off. I ain't got a haircut. So you see how trivial we'll be. We will still hold on to telling a woman not to wear lipstick, not to wear a dress, or not to wear jeans, or whatever it may be. We'll hold on to that and stick to that because it's the easiest thing to stick to. And from that same heart that you judging this woman for a lipstick, or for the guy that's on YouTube that's not a pastor, that's not a preacher, that got a hat on because been in quarantine for 2-3 months and can't get a haircut, for the same little petty stuff that we hang on to, we'll be operating from a heart of hate, from a spirit of beg to differ, from a spirit of envy and jealousy, from a spirit of anger and frustration, bitterness, and yet crying righteousness. And then go out into the world bitter, broken, angry, conceited, ignorant, arrogant, trying to appear righteous on the outside, but being unholy on the inside, and then claiming to be a witness for Christ and doing way more damage than help. Because people do not care about what you say you are. They watching what you do. They watching how you are. So if all you do is condemn and judge, but it's without love, and if your example is poor, then your reprimand holds no weight. See, if you can't live it, I remember working with a pro sports team, and one of the players, he said to me, he said, this other guy is always preaching and saying he a Christian and all of this, but then he listened to Young Thug. And I was like, wow. I was like, so I said, oh, okay, so because he listened to Young Thug, you saying that mess up his witness with you. He's like, yeah. You can't listen to Young Thug and then say you a Christian? I was like, wow. And this gentleman, he was all the way out there. He was all the way out there, but he wanted to do right. He wanted to be right, but he was looking for an example. He was looking for somebody who say, I'm a Christian, to be thorough inside and out. To be a stand-up human being. And to elevate to a higher level. and to be on another level doing the right thing. That's what he was looking for. That's what he was waiting on. But see, we got so many people that say one thing and do another. See, real recognize real. And a lot of people don't look familiar. But when you know God will give you a peace. God will give you a peace. God will give you a wisdom. God will give you an understanding. So that even when you see somebody in the comments, see, when you have a godly wisdom, you don't feel the need to go in the comments and try to show how smart you are. Timothy was talking about that. He said in these days, people are going to start trying to talk so much to show how smart they are out in the public, out and about. But you know better. Don't get in arguments with people who trying to show godly wisdom. Don't argue about what you already know, about what God already done told you. Don't argue with people about that, because many people have been led away from the faith. See, that's why if I see somebody with a spirit of beg to differ, go beg to differ on your page, because God trying to do a work here. So yes, you deleted, and you try me again. Yes, you blocked, because you got a spirit of debate. You got a spirit of beg to differ. I already know what God told me. If he told you something different, that's why he created the people to make Google, to buy YouTube, to make gmail.com, so that you can make you a gmail.com and create you a YouTube and make you a video. So you could be on that side of the fence. But you're not finna come in my congregation and be sowing discord because you operating from the wrong place, from your spirit of beg to differ. You got every right to beg to differ, but don't come in here causing confusion. And see, when you start to talk with God and work with God and understand, he'll give you a wisdom to stop getting caught up wallowing in the mud, to stop throwing pearls to swine. He'll give you a wisdom to just ignore, keep going, block, delete. Got to go. Got a work to do. Can't come down from it. See, because the adversary going to send people to try to confuse you. Going to send people to try to sit down and grill you. Don't get caught up in a fake righteous argument. I don't care what you think you know. I don't care what you think you know. I know God. I'm not going to argue with you about God. I'm not going to argue with you about Christianity. I'm not going to argue about you because I know God is real. I know Jesus Christ is real. I know it because I live it and I experienced it. Ain't nothing you could tell me. You go get any history book you want to get. You go get any book you want to get. You know the letter that you reading from somebody else. But that's why you frustrated. That's why my faith frustrates you. Because what you believe ain't brought you peace. Because if what you believe brought you peace, you wouldn't be trying to argue with me about what I believe. Because you'll just be in peace and say, okay, hey, you want to believe in that Jesus Christ? Go right ahead. I'm so happy over here. Woo, I'm doing amazing. You'll be so at peace, you wouldn't want to argue with me. But you frustrated and you angry because you done been turned over to a reprobate mind. You done lost your mind. And you have committed your life to trying to disprove something that's already proven. And it's so much proof and it's so much evidence that is frustrating you to the point that you want to yell, you want to scream, you want to call names. When you find somebody who is offended by your faith, that's proof in itself that your peace that your righteousness, that your blessings, that passeth all understanding, that's evidence that what you believe in is right. And guess what? You don't have to argue that. You don't have to argue that. Because see, you're going to start to step into the blessings in every area. In every area. And see, you're going to be blessed in every way. In every way. The Bible says, muzzle not the mouth of the ox that treads the field. See, the ox is pulling the plow. That's getting his field prepared. The Bible says, muzzle not his mouth. Let him eat. Let him eat because he's working. So in 1 Timothy, it was talking about, don't get mad with an elder for being paid well. And especially if he's good at preaching and teaching. He deserves to be paid well. Because the Bible says, muzzle not the mouth of an ox. See, when you come into the peace of the Lord, you're going to be blessed going and coming. There is not an area of my life that's a weakness. I have peace in every area of my life. I have relational peace. I have financial peace. I have spiritual peace. I have emotional peace. Now, I went off the other day. I did go off the other day at the McDonald's drive-thru because the lady answered the other speaker 3 times and left me on my speaker. Now, that right there got to me. I had to repent. Lord, I'm repenting right now. Forgive me, Lord. Because when she got to my mic, I need to talk to your manager. Because you answered the other speaker 3 times and you answered mine 1 time. Nah, I was wrong for that. And when I got to that window, I ain't curse. I just said, I need to talk to your manager. The manager was at the window. And she said, here's your receipt. I comped your order. You don't owe anything. That was my fault. That was my mistake. And I just looked. I said, okay. All right. Thank you. Now, I know some of y'all right now, you going, here go your righteous. You at McDonald's. Guess what? What I just heard. That's what I just heard in the book of 1 Timothy. The book of 1 Timothy say, it's going to be people that come to you telling you you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that. He say everything under this sun is blessed by God. God owns it. He blessed it. You can eat it. Pray over it and eat it. So yes, I was getting a Big Mac with no pickles for the queen because she like her Big Mac sometimes. Okay, yes, I had me a piece of Popeye chicken the other day. But see, that's the matter with fake righteousness. Is that we want to be righteous in the little. And then we want to be wrong in the big. There's so many people I see who they say, I don't eat pork. Okay, you don't eat pork, but your heart is bitter. You gonna die of a bitter heart. That little bit of pork ain't gonna kill you. My grandma ate pork, lived well into her 80s. If people eating pork in their 90s, if people eating pork past 100, that pork ain't gonna kill you. What gonna kill you is that bitter heart. See, you jealous in your heart. You bitter in your heart. You don't eat pork, but you fornicating. You vegan, but you fornicating. You see what I'm saying? See, it does you no good to be righteous in works, but then to be unrighteous in your spirit, in your heart, in your mind. You hear what I'm telling you? Because that pork, that ain't gonna put you in hell. That fornication will. That adultery will. That backbiting, that lying, that deceiving, that manipulation, that will. See, you got to understand, like they say, we major in minor things. You got to stop majoring in minor things. You got to know what really matters. And there's one thing my queen has taught me. She taught me balance. She taught me balance. And to major in the major things. And to keep the main thing the main thing. Stop focusing on the minor things. So I will talk to people, a lot of times women, and they may have a certain belief system. And they may say, well, I don't eat this, or I don't eat that, I don't eat that. But I can't leave my ex-boyfriend alone. Huh? So you defiling your spirit. You creating soul ties. But then you patting yourself on the back because you vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian. This ain't adding up. Because that man could drive you crazy. Send you to an early grave. But you eating a piece of beef or a piece of pork, if you eat that in moderation, now you sit there and eat it all day, yeah, it's going to mess you up. But see, people, we want to argue about things that when you have balance, it's nothing wrong with it. Things that when you have balance in your life and you understand that spiritual health, being righteous in your spirit, then will lead to being righteous in your body. And then when you realize that there was a transition, because see, this is what the thing is. A lot of times we do stuff because we want to feel special. We want to be applauded. I was listening to 1 Timothy, he said that an elder should not be a heavy drinker. But he was talking to the people and he said, drink you some wine. Because you always sick. Your stomach always sick. Drink you some wine. You know, I didn't used to drink any kind of alcohol. But you know why? It was for bragging rights. I wanted that to be a part of my Mac, my game. Player from the Himalaya. So I pull up on this lady, okay, and I'm talking to her, and while we talking, I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah, myself. Oh, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't curse. So she'll be like, what? Ooh, you don't even curse? Oh, I don't curse. Really? Well, I got a potty mouth. I need to stop cursing. So why don't you curse? And here I am. A man curser because he lacks the knowledge to express what's on his mind. Ooh. Woo, okay. And you don't drink? No. Never even smelt alcohol. What? You are rare. That's why I didn't drink, smoke, or curse. At first it was because I was an athlete. Then I lost my college scholarship. Got kicked off the team for a bad attitude because I was lazy and always faking injuries. And so at that point, okay, I could have cursed on the team. Everybody cursed. I could have drank. Everybody drank. Could have smoked. Everybody smoked. I could have done all those things. It was a lot of athletes. It's pro athletes today. Drink like a fish, smoke like a chimney, curse like a sailor, sleep around like an escort. And that's what I was doing. Sleep around like an escort. So let me ask you, what sense does it make for me not to drink when you could drink in moderation and there's nothing wrong with it? Jesus turned water into wine. If it was a sin to drink, then he wouldn't have turned water into alcohol. The sin is when you do it without moderation. The sin is when you become a wine bibbler, when you become a drunkard. Why? Because now you got a gluttonous spirit. Now you don't have self-control. Now you being turned over to another mindset. So what sense does it make for me not to drink, not to curse? I still don't curse just because it's called profanity for a reason. So if it's profanity, that means it's profane. And you cannot mix the sacred with the profane. So I don't use profanity because it's certain words is labeled as profanity. Some people want to argue their right to curse. If that's what you want to argue, go ahead. Go ahead. That's why everything is subject to your interpretation. That's why you got to serve God in spirit and in truth. Because see, God is a spirit, not a letter in a book. God is a spirit. So you got to understand that you may not, your knowledge is going to fail you at some point when it comes to comprehending the letter of the word. That's why you have to have the spirit of God in you, because your spirit will be quickened. Your spirit will be convicted when you out of line. Because see, this is why people want to be theologians and people want to be all intelligent. But if you saying that your interpretation of the writing in the book is the end all be all, then you telling an illiterate person that they can't serve God. You telling an illiterate person that they got to depend solely on your interpretation. That when they hear the word, they got to depend on your comprehension skills. See, an illiterate person may not be able to read it, but be able to hear it and understand it. I listen to the audio on the Holy Bible app, on the Bible app. So now let me get back to what I was saying. What sense would it make for me not to drink, not to curse, not to smoke, but be in fornication? And then in fornication, unprotected. So not only am I fornicating and creating soul ties, multiple soul ties with multiple women, but then also risking a child out of wedlock. A child that will be born out of fornication. A child born of sin. And then having the mother carry this child with toxins in her body, because her brain, her mind, the control center is angry and frustrated and bitter and hateful and spiteful because a man lied to her, used her, mistreated her, convinced her to get on her back, to give her body to him without protection. Now, her toxic thoughts sending chemicals from her brain to her stomach that is carrying her child. So this child is being baked in stress, baked in sin. And a lot of the women who are pregnant and are in fornication continue to fornicate the 9-10 months while carrying the baby. So not only was the baby conceived in sin, the baby is being carried in sin. Then the baby is being born into sin and being taken care of by a willing couple of sinners who have given away their mind and their spirit to unrighteousness, but don't eat McDonald's. Listen to what I just said to you. Rewind, hit the rewind button if you need to. We baking and boiling and brewing in sin, fornication, unrighteousness. But you pat yourself on the back because you don't eat pork. Because you don't eat fast food. Because you don't drink soda. Because you don't work on Saturday. Because you don't work on Sunday. Your back got a bruise on it. You done turn you the same color as 12:01 a.m. and you done turned red. Cause you patting yourself on the back so hard about your little eating habits. But you in fornication. Then you say, well, I'm in fornication, but ain't nobody perfect. You right. But that's a decision. That's a choice you making over and over and over. You right. Ain't nobody perfect. Say, well, I'm in fornication, but I'm using protection. One lady came in the comments one time, I remember. She said, oh, I don't know why Tony just assumes everybody who is in fornication, she said, having, SEX. Everyone who's in fornication is doing so unprotected. I can't remember if I responded to her or not. I might have responded to her. I might have deleted her. And I say, you see what we do? We want to major in the minor. So you in fornication and you happy and bragging because you using protection. Listen to me. A contraceptive, a condom, cannot protect you against soul ties, cannot protect you against spiritually transmitted diseases. It may protect you from some sexual transmitted diseases. See, some STDs is on the skin. So condom or not, when they pelvis area hitting you, that's skin to skin. You still contracting some STDs, sexually transmitted disease, but more so than that, you could put a condom over your whole body, put one on your tongue, put one over your head, put one wrapped around your waist. You could wrap your whole body in latex, lay down there and get in that sin, lay down there in that fornication. Guess what? Spiritually transmitted diseases, spiritually transmitted demons, sexually transmitted demons, sexually transmitted distractions, sexually transmitted demands, deviations, damnations, all kinds of STDs that condom cannot protect you from. See, we want to major in the minor. Oh, you really should not eat fast food. Do you know what they do to that meat? Hey, you hear me? It ain't hurt me, but what's right with me is my spirit. Cause see, you going to eat organic, but the farm it's on, they spraying it with pesticides. You wasn't out there. You wasn't out there. It don't matter what country you in. You being told a lie. That's not your grocery store. How many times you've seen a commercial that say, hey, if you've been taking the pill or the supplement for the last 10 years called such and such, they have just been hit with a $300 million lawsuit that claims that they were all natural, but it was actually processed. And you've been and patting yourself on the back. Oh, I'm drinking all natural. What farm you was on? What factory you was in? You reading the label. You ain't make that. You bought that from somebody else. Your country been selling you lies since your great-great-grands. So what I'm trying to help you understand, you need to major in what really matters. That's your spirit. That's righteousness. Okay, congratulations, you eat kale. Congratulations. But your spirit is defiled because you bitter and you jealous and you spiteful and you hateful and you argumentative. That you want to argue about things that don't matter. And you want to condemn people and you really don't care if they live or die. But you want to condemn them to make them feel less than because you think you higher than in an area that does not matter. Now see, if you living righteous, then you're not even going to argue. You're going to walk in love. If you living righteous, then it's not about what's coming out of your mouth. It's about what you're doing with your life. A lady said, can you ask the missus, can we clone you? And you know, I show my wife little stuff like that to get me a little kudos. Get me a pat on the back. Somebody go, oh, well, Tony, what is that any different than what you just said we're doing? It's a thing called sarcasm. I know I might not laugh at my own jokes, okay? But you got to use inference. So I showed it to my wife. And then you know what she said? She said, women ask me, can we clone you? And they just saying that based off what they see. She said they don't even know the half of who you are and what you do. I'm finna cry right now because what my wife said to me, it spoke volumes. If I truly documented and showed the world, like some people try to do on Instagram, how I treat my wife, you will throw up in your mouth. You will say you got a good heart and that you happy for everybody. It will make you sick. Because Ephesians 5 say, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. The peace, the blessings, the abundance, the favor, everything that Christ has done for me. If I showed you, if I told you, if you ain't all the way right, you will throw up in your mouth. Because God is so good. God is so good beyond words. I don't have the words to express what walking with Christ has done for my life. I do not have the words. I'm here to tell you this thing is real. But that's why I show you to the best of my ability, why I show up and I serve, why I show up and I give, why I go when I don't feel like going. I did not want to do this today. I ain't want to do this message, but I say it ain't about me. Somebody else need it. I don't want to do my live that I'm supposed to do tonight at 9 p.m. I can't promise I'm going to do it. Because I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. And somebody say, well, Tony, it get you some rest. I rest. That's what the nighttime for. But I still be tired. Because I'm giving and I'm giving and I'm giving. But when I look at Christ And I said, where would I be? What would I have? What would life look like had he said, Lord, I'm tired. I refuse. I cannot go. I cannot take this crucifixion. I cannot take this beating. I cannot carry this cross. I cannot go. I refuse. I quit. Had Christ said, I quit, where would I be? So guess what? When you have been called, your calling ain't about you telling everybody that you called. People ought to know you called by your service, by your work. People ought to know that Christ is real by your heart. See, I don't condemn anybody, but I correct everybody. But not just with my mouth, with my deeds. So if you in the wrong, I'm going to put a message in the air. I'm not calling your name, but if the shoe fit, the shoe fit. If the shoe don't fit, the shoe don't fit. If I ain't stepping on your toes, then you ain't gonna holler. What your grandma used to say, a hit dog holler. A hit human holler. See, when you in the comments with a paragraph of beg to differ, that's when I know I stepped on your toes. Because if this ain't convict your spirit, if you doing everything right, if you already where you need to be, can't nobody offend you. Can't nobody offend you when you righteous. The only thing you gonna feel when you righteous is a righteous indignation. When you offended by the insubordination of His Highness. When people bring in disrespect and blasphemy, that's when you want to go into the temple like Jesus and flip over the table with a righteous indignation, because you know how real it is in the field. You know how real God is. So you feel this righteous indignation when somebody is blaspheming the name of Christ, because Christ done saved you. Christ done been your grace, your mercy, your help, your healing. So when somebody ain't never tried Christ at His word all the way and they want to holler, that's a fairy tale. That's fake. You need to get in touch with your roots. That's a white man religion. The Bible come from Africa. The Bible was written before America was even founded. The language of the Bible is not English. It's translated into English. How is this the Confederate in the South religion? It were Christians in Africa before it were Christians in America. But they want to argue. But what 1 Timothy told me today, 1 Timothy meaning it's a book of 1 Timothy and it's a book of 2 Timothy. I'm not talking about the first chapter in the book of Timothy. I listened to the whole 1 Timothy this morning before I come on here. But what 1 Timothy told me today, Tony, stop arguing. Don't argue with these fools that think they know what they talking about. When you know what you know, because you living it and Christ done proven Himself to you, because you see the fruits. You see the fruits of walking with Christ. Don't argue with somebody who ain't never walked with Christ fully, wholeheartedly, and don't really know what this here is about. Let them go on ahead. Let them go on about their business. You can't save everybody. You can't save everybody, but just be the example. Just let your blessings, they're going to see your blessings on you. They're going to see your peace. They're going to see your happiness. They're going to see your blessed and beautiful marriage. They're going to see the fruit of it. They're going to see your blessed and beautiful children. They're going to see them. Straight A's, no A minuses. Or straight A's, or all A's and B's, no behavior infractions. They're going to see that. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, well spoken, well mannered, well behaved. They're going to see the blessings of your children. I don't want this because grades don't define them, but their behavior defines them. Your child could get C's, but if they well behaved, they know how to carry themselves, guess what? They going to see the blessings. They going to be blessed. That's what 1 Timothy told me today. So I said, okay. So block, delete. Just like Jesus told, maybe it was Peter when they got ready to, when Jesus was getting ready to do some work, and Peter said something to him like, hey, no, don't go. You can't do that. Can't. And Jesus looked at Peter. He looked at a human, and he said, Satan, get thee behind me. He ain't argue. He didn't debate. Satan, get thee behind me. That's what I'd be doing in the comment. Block, delete. That means, Satan, get thee behind me. I'm not finna go back and forth with you. I got a work to do. Stop defending your belief system when you out here in public. Stop arguing with fools. The Bible tell you, don't argue with a fool. It say, speaking to us in the book of Proverbs, it say, correct him one time, because it might save his life. Don't correct him twice, because now you arguing with a fool. Now you ain't gonna know the difference. Hey, listen to me. You got to know what matters. And you got to get right in your spirit. Veganize your spirit. You want a pescatarian? You want a vegan? You want to cut out fast food? You want to cut out soda? Cut it out in your spirit first. Don't do all of the works and still be spiritually poor. Don't be deed rich. Don't be food rich and spiritually poor. And understand what really matters. The book of Timothy told me today. It basically what it was saying to me, we focus on the wrong thing. Paul was talking in the book of Timothy. He wrote the letter, okay, to Timothy, to his brother in Christ. But it's Paul talking. Basically what Paul was saying is people focusing on the wrong thing. It verbatim said, now I'm listening to the New International Version, I believe. It verbatim said people want to come to tell you what kind of food not to eat. He was talking about the rules of the Old Testament from the law. He said, but God done bless all of the food. Eat your food. What really matters is where your spirit is at. Are you hateful? Are you spiteful? Are you bitter? Are you jealous? You like to argue. You like to debate. You like to condemn. You like to criticize to make yourself feel righteous. See, the righteous holds the righteous accountable. The unrighteous will try to come and condemn the righteous for an area that the unrighteous has found some strength in. Oh, I don't work on Saturday because Saturday is actually the real Sabbath. If you look in Churchcola 9508, what you will see from the great minister Bagakala is that the Sabbath is actually congratulations, but your spirit is defiled. Come talk to me about something else. Come talk to me about something else. Talk to me about something that really matters. Why are you in fornication, but you claim you know what the Sabbath is? It don't matter. Why are you in fornication? Why are you hating and you bitter and you backbiting, but you don't eat pork? If your spirit's still nasty, you might as well go out there and lay with the pigs and roll around. If your mind and your spirit nasty. You hear what I'm telling you? Hey, I hope this message ain't go over your head. Sometimes on these messages, you're going to have the adversary come in on the comments, try to cause confusion. On some of them, I might have to just turn the comments off so that the message is for who it's for. And then people try to make you feel bad about not accepting their difference of opinion. You have every right to your opinion on your page. You have every right to your opinion in your church. You have every right that your church that you founded. You have every right to your opinion in your house that you bought, in your car that you bought. But you can't get mad at somebody else because they don't want to go back and forth with you by theirs. You hear what I'm telling you? That's what you got to understand. But see, the spirit of discord, the adversary, the reason why the adversary has a beg to differ spirit, let me help you understand that before I get off here, because the Lord ain't called me past an hour yet. Let me help you understand why the adversary raise up beg to differs. The reason why he raises up beg to differ is because, just like the book of 1 Timothy was talking about, he said people gonna come to you and they're gonna use big words and sound like they know what they talking about. But you already know Christ. You saw Christ work. You know what's real. But they're gonna come with their doctrine and sound educated and on point. So they're gonna make a very educated sounding argument. But the holes in it is spiritual. And only a person who has come off of spiritual milk and now on spiritual meat can see the holes. But who you call to is to help the people that's on milk get the solid food. So the person that's on milk, they came and they received clarity from your ministry. But then here go this person over here who working for the adversary. They came with their message, belief system that sound like it makes sense. But it ain't for the people who God has sent to you. So when you sit and you at the lunch table at work and you arguing with somebody who is on the opposing side, you only causing confusion for your ministry and your message. So for the person that's on milk, spiritual milk, who God sent to you, because you entertain an argument with somebody the adversary sent, now your witness is lost because your witness is confused. But had your witness saw that you know what you know, and that you have a spiritual peace and a spiritual confidence, that you don't even waste your time arguing and going back and forth about what you know with somebody who got a spirit of beg to differ because they petty, and because that gives them joy by being able to ruffle the feathers of others. They just feather rufflers. That's what they major in, ruffling feathers. Because if they cared so much about what they know, they will be too busy on their own ministry, on their own page, teaching what they know. But they don't care that much. So what they want to do is to go to somebody else's ministry and cause confusion. Satan, get thee behind me. Hey, God bless you. This is Tony Gaskins. We'll talk soon.